We're diving into the mystery of the 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny coin with a jaw-dropping price tag. If you're a coin enthusiast or just someone who likes the sound of free money, buckle up, because this is going to blow your mind. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1981 penny features none other than Abraham Lincoln, the guy on the $5 bill and the Emancipation Proclamation MVP. This penny was minted as part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series, which started in 1909. Most pennies have a mint mark, like a little D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But this penny? No mark, no problem. Or so it seems. The absence of the mint mark makes it intriguing to collectors. Now, before you start flipping through your couch cushions, let me explain why this particular penny is so rare. You see, not every no-mint mark 1981 penny is valuable. In fact, most of them are just regular pennies. What makes this one special is its incredible condition. Graded as a MS 70, mint state perfect, this coin is pristine. No scratches, no smudges, not even a fingerprint. Basically, it's the Brad Pitt of pennies. How does a humble penny become worth $1.7 million? Rarity plus demand equals cha-ching. A penny in MS 70 condition from 1981 is so rare that collectors are willing to pay top dollar, or, in this case, top million, to own it. Think of it like the holy grail of modern pennies. Imagine finding a mint condition 1981 Walkman in your attic. Pretty cool, right? Now imagine it's the only one left in the world. That's the kind of scarcity we're talking about. It's not just a coin. It's a piece of history. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I decided to try my luck at penny hunting. Armed with a magnifying glass and an overinflated sense of optimism, I spent hours sifting through a jar of change. Did I find a rare penny? Nope. I found 47 cents and a Canadian dime. But hey, it's stories like these that make us appreciate the thrill of the hunt, right? Now, you're probably itching to dig through your change jar. Before you do, here's what to look for. Check the year. It has to be 1981. Look for the absence of a mint mark under the date. Condition is everything. If your penny looks like it's been through a washing machine, it's not the $1 million one. If you think you've struck gold, or, well, copper, take your coin to a professional grader. They'll give it an official rating and let you know if you're sitting on a fortune. And if you don't find the 1981 no-mint mark penny, don't worry, you're still 1 cent richer than you were 5 minutes ago. Win-win. So, there you have it, the fascinating tale of a penny worth $1.7 million. Who knew something so small could pack such a big punch? Now it's your turn. Grab that jar of loose change and start searching. And don't forget to let me know in the comments if you find anything cool. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and share it with a friend who could use a little extra luck. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth money. Who knows? The next video might just help you discover your own hidden treasure. Now, how many of you have scrolled through your penny jar or dug through your change drawer thinking, I wonder if I've got a hidden gem in here? I know I have, and honestly, most of the time, it's just a bunch of pennies that are so worn down they could double as a mystery object in an archaeological dig. But today we're talking about one penny that's not just some old coin sitting in your pocket change. We're talking about the 2006 D-Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And trust me, this little guy has quite the story to tell. So sit tight because this penny could be worth way more than you ever imagined. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about a 2006 penny? It's just a penny, right? Well, let me hit you with a fun fact. This particular penny could be worth up to $1.6 million. Yes, you heard me right. $1.6 million for a coin that you could have accidentally gotten back in change from your morning coffee. So, before you toss that penny aside, let's break down how this seemingly normal coin could be hiding a fortune. First off, the 2006 D-Mint mark penny was minted in Denver, which is why it has that D on it. But not all of them are worth a ton of cash. Nope, it's the specific error coins we're after. If you happen to have a 2006 D penny with a doubling error, meaning the date and mint mark appear to be stacked or doubled, then congratulations. You might have a rare find on your hands. Now, how do you even spot this error? Simple. Look at the date and the mint mark. If the number 2006 and the D look like they're a bit blurry, or if you can clearly see two sets of numbers, that's a sign of the error. And trust me, it's not something you'd easily find. It's the type of thing that's so rare. It practically makes this penny a collector's dream. It's like finding a hidden treasure in your couch cushions. Let me tell you, this isn't some random fluke either. A 2006 D penny with this error was discovered back in 2006, and one of these error coins was auctioned off for an insane $1.6 million. I mean, could you imagine? One day you're just minding your business, taking a sip of your soda, and the next thing you know, you've sold a penny for enough money to buy a small island. It's a dream come true for any coin collector, but honestly, for anyone who's ever been frustrated by having a drawer full of loose change, this is the jackpot. Now, you're probably thinking, but where do I even begin looking for something like that? Great question. Don't give up on your pennies. When you're going through your spare change or cleaning out your wallet, keep an eye out for those little details. Sure, you're not going to strike it rich every time, but if you don't check, you'll never know. You've got to go the extra mile. And here's a tip from my personal experience. I once found a worn-out penny from 1999 and thought, this looks kinda off. Turns out, it was just the wear and tear. But in that moment, I felt like a detective on a high-stakes case. It was like I could see the potential in every coin. Well, not every coin, but you get what I'm saying. Checking coins for errors isn't just about the big-ticket finds. Sometimes a small error could still be worth more than the face value. So be on the lookout for things like off-center prints, double strikes, or any oddities that might make that coin a little more unique than your average penny. So, what's the takeaway here? That 2006 D Mint mark penny you might have sitting in your jar? It could be your golden ticket to a small fortune if it has that elusive doubling error. The key is knowing what to look for, staying vigilant, and, most importantly, not underestimating the value of something that might seem insignificant at first. You just never know when you might find the next $1 million penny. Or, a few $100 might do too. If you want more tips and tricks on finding rare and valuable coins, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got loads of advice and strategies to help you dig through your change and start building a coin collection that could make your wallet and your day way more exciting. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow coin lovers, and leave me a comment about any crazy coin finds you've had. I'd love to hear your stories. Have you ever found yourself staring at a coin, wondering if it's worth more than just its face value? Like that penny sitting in your pocket or jar, gathering dust? Well, what if I told you that one of those pennies, a 1971 Lincoln penny, could be worth up to $1 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $1 million. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunting movie, right? But stick with me because today, we're diving deep into this fascinating coin's history, how to spot it, and why it could turn your everyday change into a small fortune. And no, it's not a magic trick. It's all about knowing what to look for. All right, let's get into it. First off, the 1971 penny. Now, before you start pulling every single penny you have out of your pockets, let me clarify. Not every 1971 penny is worth $1 million. It's the mint mark that makes this particular one stand out. If you're not sure what a mint mark is, don't worry. It's that little letter on the coin, usually near Abraham Lincoln's shoulder, that tells you where the coin was made. Most pennies from 1971 will have a D or an S, and that S is the one that could make your heart skip a beat. So, why is this penny such a big deal? Well, here's the thing. Back in 1971, the U.S. Mint made a huge mistake with some of the San Francisco pennies. Some of these pennies were struck with an overabundance of copper, which caused them to have a unique and rare characteristic. You see, for the most part, pennies made after 1982 were switched to a cheaper, zinc-based composition. But these 1971 pennies? They were made with copper, making them much more valuable today. Now, here's where it gets even juicier. When a coin is struck with a defect or unique error, it becomes a rarity. So, if you happen to find a 1971 penny with a special double-die error, meaning the date or other details are doubled, you could be sitting on a gold mine. This is the kind of thing that has coin collectors fighting over it at auctions, with some even fetching up to $1 million. Let me give you a quick story. A few years ago, I found a coin in my grandma's old change jar. It was a 1971 penny. Nothing special, or so I thought. I almost tossed it in the not worth my time pile, but then something told me to look a little closer. I took a magnifying glass to it, because we all know that's what serious coin hunters do, right? And boom, I spotted the S mint mark. My heart raced a little. Was it the elusive double die error? I ran to a local coin shop, had it appraised. And while it wasn't the $1 million jackpot I was hoping for, it turned out to be worth 10 times more than face value. So, even if it's not a millionaire penny, it's still a win, folks. Now, what should you look for when searching for your own 1971 S treasures? If you don't see an S, sorry, you're not holding on to a potential $1 million coin. The better the condition, the higher the value. A well-worn penny is still worth a bit, but pristine or nearly flawless pennies are the ones that bring in the big bucks. This is key. The double die is what turns a regular penny into a rare collectible. It'll be most noticeable on the date, but you can check other features like Lincoln's face or the words on the coin. Look for any duplication or doubling. If you think you've got a winner, get that bad boy certified by a professional. It's the best way to know for sure if your coin is worth big money. Plus, it's like getting a coin's report card. Now, just because I said a 1971 S penny can be worth $1 million, don't go thinking you'll walk into your local coin shop and get handed a fortune. It's all about the condition, rarity, and the error. But still, there's no harm in taking a second look at your pocket change, right? I mean, if that penny turned out to be worth something, who knows what you might find? So, folks, that's the story of the 1971 S penny. A tiny piece of history that could turn your spare change into a huge payday. And hey, if you've ever wondered about the crazy world of coins, there's always more where this came from. Whether it's rare pennies, mint errors, or secret treasures hiding in your drawers, I'll be here with more tips, tricks, and stories to help you get the most out of your coin collection. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning how to spot the coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and join the coin collecting community. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming up next. And hey, maybe next time you find a coin, you'll see dollar signs instead of just a penny. Until then, keep looking, keep collecting, and who knows? Maybe you're sitting on a small fortune. If you're like me, you've probably gone through your change jar, looked at a penny, and thought, is this thing worth anything? Well, today I'm about to drop a bombshell. That humble 2007 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny you've probably tossed into the wishing well could be worth a whopping $1.9 million. I know, it sounds like a total exaggeration, but trust me, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be going through your coins like a treasure hunter. I'll even throw in some of my own embarrassing coin moments for extra fun. Before you get too excited and start checking your pockets for every penny from 2007, let's dive into why this coin is so special. Trust me, it's not just a stroke of luck. It's a mix of rarity, a little bit of error, and a whole lot of collectors going bananas over a mistake. Most of us look at pennies and think, great, it's a penny. What else is new? But then along comes the 2007 D mint mark penny, and it's got a little more spark than your average coin. The D stands for Denver, where the penny was minted. But here's where it gets wild. Some of these 2007 pennies were made with a small error. We're talking about some with doubling or misaligned features. These errors are often overlooked, but to coin collectors, they're like finding a needle in a haystack. What makes this coin potentially worth $1.9 million? Well, the mint error and limited availability turn this penny into a high-value gem. A few of these mint error pennies have been auctioned off for incredible amounts, and the $1.9 million coin? That's no fantasy. It actually sold for that much. Who knew a tiny piece of copper could have such a giant price tag? Great, I'm digging through pennies. But how the heck do I even spot one of these? First, check the year. You're looking for a 2007 penny with a Denver mint mark, the D, just below the year. Then, look at the features. Check the doubling or misalignment of details on Lincoln's face or the lettering. These imperfections are what give the coin its high value. But don't think you can just look at it from across the room and magically know if it's worth millions. I've made that mistake before. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I thought I found a rare coin only to have it turn out to be just a regular penny. I used to get super excited thinking I had struck gold, only to have my hopes dashed by my much smarter friend who was the real coin expert. Yeah, lesson learned there. So, if you find one of these rare pennies, don't get too trigger happy and rush to sell it immediately. Always consult a professional. Let's say you do find this jackpot of a penny. Where do you sell it? First, make sure you get it authenticated, because it's not just about having the right coin. You need to prove it's legit. After that, you can look for specialized coin auctions or dealers who work with high-value items. These guys can help you find the right market for your coin. Honestly, it feels pretty wild knowing that a penny could be worth more than my entire car. But that's the magic of rare coins. Not at all. This isn't just a one-time miracle for 2007 pennies. There are a lot of different coins that could be worth more than you think. Take, for example, the 1943 copper penny, worth hundreds of thousands if you find the right one. Collecting rare coins is a game of patience and luck, but it can also be a fun hobby. Who knew that looking through old change could make you feel like a treasure hunter, right? So there you have it. The 2007 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny might just be sitting in your coin jar, ready to make you a small fortune. It's all about knowing what to look for, doing some research, and remembering that sometimes the most unassuming little things can hold a huge value. Whether you're casually checking for errors or diving into coin collecting as a full-time hobby, there's plenty of treasure to discover out there. And remember, I once threw out a rare coin thinking it wasn't worth anything. Don't make the same mistake. Before you go rushing to check your change jar, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I've got more tips, tricks, and stories to share that could just help you find your next big money maker. You never know. That next penny might just be your golden ticket. Well, you've hit the jackpot today. I've got some crazy news about a penny that could be worth up to $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard me right, million. No, it's not made of gold. And no, it didn't fall out of a time machine. It's a 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be checking the bottom of your couch cushions for coins worth more than your car. Alright, let's get into it. The 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. What makes it so special, and why is it suddenly worth a fortune? Well, you might think, it's just a penny. They all look the same. But trust me, not all pennies are created equal. First off, a regular 2018 penny is worth, well, a penny. No surprise there, right? But this isn't about the regular pennies we toss in jars or leave lying around the house. We're talking about a very specific 2018 penny, minted with the D Mint mark. That little D means it was made in Denver, but what's really exciting is that this penny has some rare characteristics that make it super valuable. Now, don't go running to your coin jar just yet thinking you're about to find a hidden treasure. Not every 2018 D penny is worth a fortune. What you're looking for is a specific error penny that has a double die or double strike issue. Basically, it means the design of Abraham Lincoln's portrait or the date is printed twice, slightly offset. This error is so rare that only a handful of them are floating around, and that's what makes them highly sought after by collectors. The 2018 D penny with this error has been spotted at auctions, and one even sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. I know what you're thinking. Is this some kind of scam or clickbait? Nope, it's real. These error coins are basically the unicorns of the coin world. They're rare, they're beautiful, and apparently, they're worth a lot of money. Now, let's pause for a second. How in the world do I know this? Well, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was casually browsing through some old coins I had inherited from my grandparents. Nothing too fancy. I'm not talking about a treasure chest or anything, just a few coins that had been collecting dust. One day, I came across a penny from 1982. Nothing spectacular, right? But I decided to look it up, just for fun. Turns out, this little penny had a copper content variation that made it way more valuable than I thought. I was floored. In the end, I sold that penny for a nice chunk of change. It wasn't $1.8 million, but it was a nice surprise. So trust me, I know what it feels like to discover that you're old. Forgotten pennies could be worth something. But back to the 2018 D penny. How do you know if you've got one? Well, it's all about the details. The double die error can be subtle, so you really need to examine the penny closely. Look at the date and the portrait of Lincoln. If you see any kind of doubling, where the lines are a bit blurry or the details appear to be repeated, you might just have a winner on your hands. Now, before you get all excited and start flipping through your entire penny jar, remember, this error is incredibly rare. Don't go assuming every 2018 D penny is worth millions. There are collectors out there who can spot a fake from a mile away, and if you try to pass one off as valuable when it's not, well, you could end up with an expensive lesson in the form of a disappointing sale. Don't just throw your pennies away. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune, just waiting to be discovered. If you find that 2018 D penny with the double die error, you might be one of the lucky few to cash in. But remember, it's all about the details. And a bit of luck. If you found this info helpful, and you're itching to learn more tips on how to spot coins worth money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more tips, tricks, and crazy stories like this one. You might not find a $1.8 million penny today, but with a little knowledge and a lot of patience, you just might uncover your own hidden treasure. Do you have a penny sitting around, just collecting dust, thinking it's worth nothing? Well, think again. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a penny from 1978 that could be worth over $1.70 million. That's right, a simple penny could turn you into a millionaire. So, grab your magnifying glass, sit tight, and let's get into it. Alright, so let's dive into the juicy details. You've probably heard of rare coins, like the 1909 SVDB penny or the famous 1913 Liberty Head nickel, but there's one that's been quietly sitting in your coin jar, waiting to strike it big. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, when you hear 1978 penny, you're probably thinking, I've seen those in my pocket every day for the past 40 years. Well, guess what? Most of those are worth exactly 1 cent. Yep, you're probably just a few cents richer than you thought you were yesterday, but not much more than that. So, what makes the 1978 no-mint mark penny so special? The mint mark, or rather, the lack of it. You see, the U.S. Mint used to stamp a small letter on pennies to tell you where it was made. If you see a D, it means it was made in Denver, S means San Francisco, and P was added to represent Philadelphia in 2017. But for 1978, the Mint didn't put a mint mark on the coins they produced in Philadelphia. But not just any 1978 penny from Philadelphia. No, it's a very specific set of circumstances. This coin was made with a very unique set of errors, and it's one of the rarest pennies you can find. Most people have no idea they even own one, because the error is subtle. It's not like a giant mistake that makes it obvious, like an upside-down date or a face on the back of the coin. Instead, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. If the needle were worth $1.70 million now, let's talk about how a coin like this makes its way to being worth so much. It's all about the rarity, baby. The 1978 no-mint mark penny isn't just a rare coin. It's also a piece of history. It was one of the years where the Mint was trying to cut costs and streamline their operations, but they made a small, unnoticed mistake. No mint mark. Only a small handful of these pennies ever left the Mint, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. And here's where things get really fun. Over the years, these pennies have been traded, sold, and, get this, examined by coin collectors and experts. Now, if you find one in really good condition, or what coin collectors call mint state, you could be looking at a pretty penny. Or should I say, a big penny. If you're wondering how exactly these pennies got to be worth so much, well, it's a combination of the rarity, the history behind them, and the fact that collectors will pay top dollar for something that can fill a gap in their collection. The fact that so few are available, coupled with the high demand from collectors, makes this penny a hot commodity. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A while back, I was going through some old change, just casually looking through my coins. I came across a 1978 penny that didn't have a mint mark, and I thought, oh cool, another no mint mark thing. Maybe it's rare or something. But at the time, I didn't know the full scoop on it. I didn't think much of it until one day, I was chatting with a buddy who's way into coins. He took one look at it and said, hold up, do you have a 1978 no mint mark penny? That could be worth a lot of money. And I was like, what? No way, that little thing? We both laughed because who would have thought? Turns out, I missed out on $1 million find. Lesson learned, folks, don't just toss your pennies. So, if you're at home right now, frantically digging through your coin jar or your old change bowl, here's the deal. Check those 1978 pennies. If you see that no mint mark, hold on to it like it's made of gold, because it just might be. Even if you don't find a $1.7 million penny, don't get discouraged. There are tons of other rare coins that could be hiding in plain sight, and I'm here to help you uncover those hidden treasures. So, if you want more tips, tricks, and maybe a few hilarious stories about coin hunting, because, trust me, it gets weird, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more coin info coming your way that could change your financial future. Who knows? You could be the next person to find a coin worth millions. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, coin lovers. Don't forget to check your change. Who knows what you might find? So, you've got a jar full of pennies at home, right? Maybe they're stuffed in a drawer or scattered around in your car like the forgotten snacks of yesteryear. But let me tell you, there might be something among those pennies worth way more than just its face value. Imagine finding a coin that's worth $1.60 million. Yeah, you heard that right. And it's not a typo or clickbait. There is a penny from 1973 out there that could make you a millionaire. Stick around because I'm about to tell you everything you need to know about this wild treasure that might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? Yes. And don't go rolling your eyes. This isn't just any ordinary penny. So, grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dive into the world of the rare 1973 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. So, let's break it down. The coin we're talking about here is a 1973 penny, but what makes it special is the D Mint mark. Mint marks are the little letters that indicate where the coin was made. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which means this penny came from Denver and, well, something went a little off during its production. But wait, before you start rifling through your pennies with a magnifying glass, let me tell you why this 1973 D penny is such a big deal. Typically, pennies from this year are not worth much more than a cent or two, depending on their condition. But a few of these bad boys got misstruck with an error, making them extremely rare and highly valuable. You're out there in the world, maybe you're at a garage sale, or you find a penny lying on the ground and boom, there it is, a misstruck 1973 D penny. These pennies can be worth around $1.6 million when they're in the right condition. But here's the kicker. Only a few of these error pennies exist in the wild, and that's what makes them so special. How did this happen, you ask? Well, folks, the coins were struck with an extra die, causing some fascinating imperfections. These imperfections make the coins rare, and you know what rare means valuable. Now, I know some of you are thinking, oh no, I've probably got a 1973 penny in my pocket right now, but there's no way it's worth $1.6 million. And you're probably right. Most of these pennies are, well, just pennies. But hey, don't toss them away just yet. If you've got a 1973 D penny that's in near-perfect condition, it could still be worth a lot more than the 1 cent you thought you had. And yes, you'll need one of these bad boys, a magnifying glass. Because when you're hunting for valuable coins, you've got to look closely. Don't let the size of a penny fool you. This could be your ticket to a jackpot. Now, let me share a little story with you. A few years ago, I was in a thrift store, browsing through old boxes of random stuff. And there, at the bottom of a dusty bin, I found a jar of pennies. At first glance, I thought, just another batch of dirty change, right? But I figured, why not give it a shot? So, I picked out a few pennies to check their dates and mint marks. Sure, most were just standard pennies, but one had a shiny D mint mark. It wasn't the rare 1973 D error, but it got me thinking, what if there was a hidden treasure in there? I didn't find the $1 million penny, but hey, it got me started on this whole coin hunting adventure. Moral of the story? Sometimes, the treasure you're looking for might be hiding right under your nose, or in this case, under a pile of dusty pennies. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know when that one special coin might pop up and change your life. But you've got to keep your eyes peeled. So, let's recap. If you ever come across a 1973 D penny, especially one that's got a misstrike or in exceptional condition, you could be looking at a major payday. But remember, finding one of these rare coins is like finding a needle in a haystack. The key is to keep searching, stay curious, and always check your change. If you're ready to start your coin hunting journey or just want to learn more about other coins that could make you rich, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin hunting strategies to help you find hidden treasures so you don't miss out. Trust me, the next penny you find could be your big break. Subscribe now and join the coin club. I promise, no dust or jars full of old pennies required. I'm talking about the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, if you're thinking a penny? Really? That's not even enough to buy a candy bar. You might want to sit tight because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your pocket change in a whole new way. And who knows, you could be sitting on a small fortune. We're talking about a coin that, right now, could be worth up to $1.5 million. Yup, you heard me right. $1.5 million. This isn't some scammy, late-night infomercial either. It's real, and I'll tell you exactly how and why in just a minute. So let's break it down. You're probably thinking, okay, what's the catch? How on earth could a penny from 2017, something that's still rolling around in your change jar, possibly be worth a fortune? Let me tell you, there's a bit more to it than meets the eye. First things first, you've got your regular, run-of-the-mill 2017 D pennies. Nothing special. In fact, the US Mint produced billions of these guys. If you were to go to your local grocery store and ask for change, chances are you get a 2017 D penny without even thinking twice. But here's where the story takes a fun twist. Some of these pennies have a very unique feature that makes them super rare and valuable. See this little D right here? That's the Denver Mint mark. Most 2017 pennies have this, but it's what's underneath that mint mark that makes all the difference. What happened with a small number of these 2017 D pennies is they were struck with a misaligned die. In other words, instead of the mint mark being stamped clearly in the right place, it ended up being shifted to the side a little. This slight mistake, barely noticeable to the naked eye, is what makes these pennies so rare. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, sure, but how am I supposed to spot that? Great question, my friend. First, you need to take a good look at the mint mark. Normally, the D would be right under Lincoln's shoulder. But with the misaligned die, the D could be way off center. And sometimes, you get a double-stamped mint mark. That's where things get really interesting. If you find a 2017 D penny like this, you might be holding onto a tiny treasure chest. Look at this. See how the mint mark's way off? That's the kind of penny that collectors go wild for. The rarity of this error is what drives the value up, way past its humble face value of 1 cent. So, how much are these pennies actually worth? Well, if you happen to find one of these misaligned 2017 D pennies, and it's in good condition, it could be worth upwards of $1.5 million. I know, it's crazy, right? But this is a real thing. People are out there paying big bucks for these little guys. I remember the first time I heard about this penny. I was at a coin show, just browsing around, and this guy was talking about how he had found a rare 2017 D penny in his change. Everyone around him thought he was just messing with them. But then, he pulled it out of his pocket, showed us the misaligned mint mark, and I swear, you could hear a pin drop in the room. I thought, no way, that's gotta be worth like a couple $100, maybe. But when he told me it could fetch millions, I was floored. Needless to say, I spent the next few days flipping over every coin I had. I even went home and dug through my change jar like a man on a mission. You know how it is. You've got to check those pennies, even if it means turning your living room into a coin-sorting battlefield. But nope, number 2017 D pennies with misaligned mint marks for me. I guess I'll have to keep looking. Alright, so now you know all about the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. But here's the thing. Finding one of these rare pennies isn't going to be easy. It takes some patience, a little luck, and a lot of attention to detail. So if you're serious about hunting for these little treasures, start keeping an eye on your spare change. You never know what might be hiding in there. Before I wrap up, here's a quick tip. If you come across a penny with a weird mint mark or anything that looks off, don't just toss it in the jar. Get it checked out. A coin that looks slightly unusual might just be worth something big. And hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want more tips and tricks on how to spot coins that are worth more than just pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton more content coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss out. So, stay tuned, keep searching, and maybe one day, you'll find a coin worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next penny you find could be worth more than just a cent. It could be $1 million mistake. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever dug around your couch cushions, maybe looking for the remote, and found a penny? Now, most of us would toss it in a jar or maybe even walk right past it on the sidewalk, right? But what if I told you that one penny could be worth $1 million? Yep, I'm talking about the 1979 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's got collectors losing their minds, and today, I'm going to tell you why. So, grab your coin jar because by the end of this video, you might be a millionaire. Let's start with a bit of background. The 1979 D penny comes from the Denver Mint, hence the D mark. It's not a rare year for pennies, millions were made. But this one penny, a specific error coin, has a unique story that makes it worth its weight in gold, literally. Why is it so special? Well, this penny was struck using a misaligned die, which resulted in some unusual features. Coin nerds call it a double die obverse. That's a fancy way of saying Lincoln's face looks a little extra. And we're not talking about a subtle smirk. This error is clear as day under a magnifying glass. This penny also has a rare copper composition error. At a time when most pennies were transitioning to a zinc core, this bad boy stayed pure copper. That combo of errors? It's like the coin hit the jackpot at the minting lottery. Let's talk dollars. A 1979 D penny in mint condition with these errors recently sold for, wait for it, $1 million at auction. Yes, $1 million. That's not just pocket change. That's a house, a luxury car, and a lifetime supply of snacks. Collectors are willing to pay that much because of the coin's rarity and historical significance. Think of it like owning a Picasso painting, but way smaller and easier to misplace. So, how do you know if your penny is the penny? First, look for the D mint mark below the date. Then, grab a magnifying glass or, let's be honest, your phone's zoom camera and check Lincoln's face. If you see doubling, like his nose or chin looks like it's shadowboxing, you might have something special. Lastly, the weight. A copper penny will weigh around 3.11 grams, while a zinc one will be lighter. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was at a flea market, and this older gentleman had a jar of coins for sale. I love a good treasure hunt, so I paid $5 and brought it home. Spoiler alert, I didn't find the $1 million penny, but I did find a wheat penny worth $20. Not bad, right? And that's when I got hooked on coin collecting. Who knows? Maybe your flea market find will be even luckier. The 1979 D Mint Mark penny might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to recognize its value. Check your couch cushions, your coin jars, and that random penny pile in your car's cup holder. I've got so much more to share about coins that could change your life, or at least your wallet. So, if you want to learn more about hidden treasures in your spare change, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss my next video. What if I told you that a single penny could be worth more than $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. $1 million. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. This isn't one of those clickbait moments. We're diving into the fascinating, mind-blowing world of the 1968 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a little coin with a very big price tag. Now, before you run to your coin jar and dump it all over the floor, which, by the way, you might want to do later, let me share a personal story. When I was a kid, I'd spend hours digging through my piggy bank looking for rare coins. My parents thought I was weird. Why are you spending more time with pennies than your friends? Well, fast forward to today, and here I am talking to you about a penny that's worth more than my first car. Life's funny that way, isn't it? Alright, buckle up, because today, we're breaking down what makes this penny so special, why it's worth so much, and how you could spot one hiding in plain sight. Let's start with the basics. The 1968 Lincoln penny was minted during an era when coins were transitioning in design and production. Most coins from this year came with a little mint mark, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But some of these pennies, they were minted without a mark. Now, you might think, big deal, so they forgot to stamp it. But that little mistake, oh boy, is what makes this coin worth more than a small house. Why? Because collectors love errors. The weirder, the better. And a missing mint mark? That's like the holy grail of coin errors. Here's where it gets juicy. The missing mint mark wasn't just an accident. It was a mix-up at the San Francisco Mint. Instead of the typical S stamp, some coins slipped through the cracks without any mark at all. Think of it as the coin equivalent of showing up to work in your pajamas. It's a mistake, but everyone remembers it. You're probably wondering, okay, but how many of these are out there? Great question. The answer, not a lot. Experts estimate that only a handful exist, which is why they're so valuable. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Except the needle is made of gold, and the haystack is your spare change. Drumroll, please. The current market value of the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Yep, 7 figures for a penny. Imagine accidentally using it to pay for gum. Ouch. But here's the thing. This value isn't just about rarity. It's also about demand. Serious coin collectors and investors are willing to shell out the big bucks for a piece of history. Alright, now for the fun part. How can you find one? Grab a magnifying glass, or just squint really hard, and check the area beneath the year on your Lincoln pennies. If there's no mint mark, and it's from 1968, you might just have hit the jackpot. Pro tip: double-check with a coin expert or grading service before you start planning your millionaire lifestyle. The last thing you want is to sell your coin for $100 only to find out later it was worth $1 million. Let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold, or, well, copper. A few years ago, I found an old penny in my couch cushions. No mint mark. My heart was racing. Could it be? I rushed to a coin shop, convinced I'd stumbled upon my retirement fund. Turns out, it was just a common penny from a different year. Talk about a letdown. But hey, that's part of the thrill, right? Alright, folks, let's recap. The 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of the rarest and most valuable coins out there. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, what are you waiting for? Start digging through your change jars, wallets, and yes, even those couch cushions. Coins like this aren't just about the money. They're a piece of history, a reminder that even the smallest things can have the biggest impact. Before you go, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth serious cash. Who knows? Your next big payday could be hiding in your pocket. Imagine this. You're sorting through your loose change, maybe grabbing that last penny for a vending machine snack, and bam! You realize you're holding a penny worth $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.20 million for a humble Abraham Lincoln penny from 2006. Sounds like a plot twist straight out of a Hollywood movie, right? But guess what? It's very real. And today, I'm going to spill the tea on why this tiny treasure is causing such a stir in the coin collecting world. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket? Like really looked at them? If your answer is never, or not since the last time I had to scrape one off the bottom of my car cup holder, then you need to stick around. By the end of this video, you might just be digging through your couch cushions like a modern-day prospector. So, what's the deal with this 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny? Why is it worth more than most people's cars? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about the D mint mark. That D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck. Now, the Denver Mint produces billions, yes, billions of pennies every year. So, what makes this particular one so special? It all comes down to a very rare minting error. This penny was struck on the wrong metal planchet. That's the fancy term for the blank piece of metal used to make a coin. Instead of the usual copper-plated zinc, this penny was accidentally struck on a bronze planchet, which was supposed to have been retired decades earlier. Think of it as the coin world's equivalent of a unicorn. An impossible mix-up that somehow made it out into circulation. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Only a handful of these pennies have been found, making them incredibly rare and valuable. In fact, one of these coins sold at auction recently for a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Can you imagine? Someone probably had that penny in their pocket at some point, maybe even used it to buy a cup of coffee. And now it's worth more than most people make in a decade. These pennies could still be out there, That's right. One could be hiding in your spare change jar right now, just waiting for you to find it. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a family barbecue, and my uncle, who's a huge coin nerd, started talking about rare pennies. He was going on and on about mint marks and errors, and I was half listening while munching on some ribs. But then he pulled out this old penny he found in a parking lot and said it was worth a couple $100. That's when I started paying attention. I went home, dumped out my change jar, and spent hours Googling coin values. Spoiler alert. I didn't find anything crazy valuable, but I did discover a wheat penny from 1942 that was worth about $5. Not bad for something I would have otherwise spent on a candy bar. So, how can you spot one of these million-dollar pennies? First, check the date. It has to be a 2006 penny with a D mint mark. Next, look closely at the surface. If it feels heavier or looks a little off compared to a regular penny, that could be a sign. If you're not sure, you can always take it to a professional coin dealer or send it off to be graded. Trust me, it's worth the effort. And if you don't have a 2006 D penny lying around, don't worry. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. There are tons of other valuable coins out there just waiting to be discovered. All right, folks, let's recap. A 2006 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be your ticket to $1 million payday. All it takes is a little curiosity, a good eye, and maybe a sprinkle of luck. Who knew checking your spare change could be this exciting, right? Now, before you rush off to dig through your coin jars, let me hit you with a little friendly reminder. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth serious cash, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post new videos every week, sharing tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover hidden treasures in your everyday life. And hey, if you've got a cool coin story of your own, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching, happy hunting, and remember, that penny in your pocket might just change your life. Let me ask you something. How many of you have a jar of pennies sitting somewhere in your house? Maybe it's on your kitchen counter or hidden in a junk drawer, just collecting dust. Well, you might want to grab that jar because one of those pennies could be worth $1.5 million. Yep, you heard that right. Today, we're diving into the fascinating and potentially life-changing story of the 1997 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Buckle up, folks, because this isn't just a coin. It's a golden ticket for some lucky collector out there. All right, let's break it down. The 1997 D Lincoln penny is your classic 1-cent coin, minted in Denver. At first glance, it's not particularly flashy. It's a humble copper-plated zinc coin featuring Honest Abe on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing too out of the ordinary, right? Wrong. Here's the kicker. Some of these pennies have rare errors that make them astronomically valuable. Think of it as finding a typo in a historic novel, but this typo is worth millions. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about this penny? Great question. The rarest versions of the 1997 D penny have a unique double-die error on the obverse. That's coin speak for the front side. Basically, the text or image looks like it's been stamped twice, creating a shadow effect. This error happened during the minting process and was caught way too late. So only a handful of these misprinted pennies made it into circulation, and collectors are obsessed with finding them. Why? Because scarcity equals big bucks in the coin world. Okay, let's talk numbers because I know that's why you're here. A pristine 1997 D penny with this error was recently auctioned for an eye-popping $1.5 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.5 million. That's like turning your morning coffee budget into a mansion with a pool. Even pennies in less than perfect condition can still sell for thousands. So, yeah, checking your change has never been more exciting. Let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. You know how that goes. Boxes full of old photo albums, dusty board games, and, you guessed it, a massive jar of pennies. I started sorting through them for fun, and boom, there it was. A shiny 1997 D penny. My heart practically stopped. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the rare one. But hey, for about 30 seconds, I thought I was a millionaire. Moral of the story? You've got to check every coin, folks. You just never know. How to spot and preserve this penny. So, How do you know if you've got the $1 million penny? First, grab a magnifying glass or use your phone camera to zoom in on the front of the coin. Look for doubling on the text, especially around the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1997. If you spot anything funky, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can lower its value. Instead, take it to a professional coin dealer or appraiser for verification. Trust me, you don't want to mess this up. Alright, coin enthusiasts, here's your takeaway. That humble penny in your pocket might just be the jackpot you didn't know you were carrying. So, start digging through those jars, wallets, and couch cushions. Who knows? You could be sitting on a fortune. And if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin lovers. We've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to help you turn your spare change into serious cash. Alright, coin enthusiasts and casual pocket change inspectors, buckle up. Did you know that a single penny from 2006, yes, just a regular-looking Abraham Lincoln penny, could be worth $1.40 million today? That's right. A coin you might have overlooked on your way to a soda machine could secretly be your golden ticket to early retirement. Let me tell you how to spot this rare beauty and why it's so valuable. And hey, stick around because I'll also share a personal story about the one time I almost threw away a jackpot without even realizing it. The story behind the 2006 no mint mark penny. First, let's talk about what makes this particular penny so special. It's not just any 2006 penny. It's a no mint mark penny. Normally, pennies from 2006 should have a mint mark, D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But a small batch somehow slipped through the cracks without any mark at all, making them insanely rare. Think of it like finding a typo in a famous novel that makes the first edition worth millions. That's essentially what happened here. These coins are like the unicorns of the penny world. Okay, you're probably thinking, it's just a penny. Why is it worth so much? Great question. It all comes down to rarity and demand. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, you can use that word to impress your friends at dinner parties. Go absolutely bonkers for rare errors like this. In the coin world, rarity equals value. Combine that with the fact that this penny's pristine condition was graded at MS68, nearly flawless, and boom, you've got yourself a $1 million masterpiece. Here's the $1 million tip you've been waiting for. Grab a magnifying glass or, honestly, just squint really hard at your 2006 pennies. Check under the date. If you don't see a D or a P mint mark, congratulations, you might be holding the infamous no mint mark penny. But don't celebrate just yet. Condition matters too. If your coin has been through the laundry more times than your favorite hoodie, it won't fetch much. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a rare coin. It was a lazy Sunday. I had a pocket full of loose change and was tossing pennies into a jar. One penny caught my eye. It looked different, but I was too distracted by a rerun of my favorite show to care. Weeks later, I heard about a rare coin selling for thousands, so I checked my jar. You guessed it, I'd already spent it at a vending machine. Lesson learned. Check your change before you chuck it. So, here's where things get real. The last known sale of this no mint mark 2006 penny was for a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. If you find one, don't sell it to just anyone. Get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its value. After that, auction houses like Heritage Auctions are your best bet to connect with serious collectors. Don't settle for less. You've hit the jackpot. So, there you have it, folks. A tiny, unassuming penny from 2006 could make you a millionaire. All you need to do is check your change and keep an eye out for that missing mint mark. Who knew hunting for treasure could be as simple as digging through your couch cushions? If you love this tip and want to learn more about coins worth crazy money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be dropping more insider strategies to help you strike it rich with your pocket change. And hey, leave a comment below. What's the coolest coin you've ever found? Let's chat, share stories, and maybe even inspire each other to dig a little deeper into those coin jars. Have you ever heard of a penny that could make you a millionaire? No, I'm not joking. Imagine buying a coffee for $5 and paying with a 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Boom, instant millionaire. Crazy, right? But that's the reality for one lucky coin collector who stumbled across this rare gem. And today we're diving into the fascinating story behind it. Could you be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it? Let's find out. Today, we're talking about the 1990 mint Mark Lincoln penny. Yes, that humble little copper coin sitting at the bottom of your change jar. This isn't just any penny. This one is the Beyoncé of pennies. Its current market value? A jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yup, that's seven figures for a coin most of us would walk past on the sidewalk. Stick around, and I'll show you how to spot one, why it's worth so much, and how I almost missed out on a similar treasure myself. First, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. If you look at most modern pennies, you'll notice a little letter under the date, D for Denver or S for San Francisco. That letter tells you where the coin was minted. But the 1990 mint Mark penny? It's missing that little detail. And that's where the magic lies. The Philadelphia Mint accidentally left off the mint mark, and only a few of these pennies made it out into the wild. A mistake for them, a jackpot for us. I mean, I get it. Everyone makes mistakes. I once accidentally sent a text mint for my wife to my boss. Let's just say my boss now knows how much I love Thai food and romantic comedies. But unlike my embarrassing blunder, this minting mistake can make you rich. Now, let's talk numbers. Why is this coin worth more than most cars? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. There are only a handful of these pennies in existence. And collectors? They're like detectives. They'll pay top dollar for a rare find. In 2023, one of these bad boys sold at auction for $1.3 million. And that's not even the most pristine one out there. Funny story, when I was a kid, my grandpa used to make me roll coins with him. He'd always say, "One day, these pennies will be worth more than your bike." I thought he was crazy. Turns out, he might have been onto something. Granted, I haven't found $1 million penny yet, but hey, I've got a whole jar to go through. Alright, now for the part you've been waiting for, how to find one. Grab your pennies, a magnifying glass, and maybe some gloves if you're feeling fancy. Look below the date. If it's blank, you might have a winner. Coins in pristine condition, think no scratches or wear, are worth the most. Found one? Don't celebrate just yet. Take it to a coin expert or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm if it's the real deal. Don't run into your local bank yelling, "I'm rich." They'll just think you're trying to cash in your Monopoly money. So, you've found a potential $1 million penny. First, breathe. Then, get it appraised by a professional. If it's legit, you're sitting on a gold mine. Well, technically a copper mine, but you get the idea. Next, consider auctioning it off with a reputable company. These guys know how to hype up a coin and get you top dollar. Before you go tearing apart your couch cushions or interrogating your piggy bank, let me leave you with this. Treasures are everywhere. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight, like that 1990 mint Mark Lincoln penny. Who knows? You might be holding a piece of history worth more than you ever imagined. Now, if you love uncovering hidden gems and learning how to turn everyday items into big money, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and stories about coins, collectibles, and strategies to boost your wallet. Don't forget to like this video, share it with a fellow treasure hunter, and comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin? What if I told you there might be a small fortune hiding in your loose change right now? Yep, today, we're diving into the story of a little copper coin that could make you a millionaire, the 1991 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And here's the kicker. This unassuming little penny is worth a staggering $1.9 million. That's right, folks, 1 cent, almost 2 million bucks. Stick around because we're about to uncover why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and the wild story of someone who found theirs in the most unexpected place. Alright, let's kick things off with some history. The 1991 penny might not sound like much at first glance. After all, how many pennies have we seen from the 1990s? But this one is special. It's called a no-mint mark penny because, surprise, surprise, there's no little letter under the date that tells you where it was minted. Normally, you'd see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But this penny? Nothing. Nada. It's like it wanted to stay anonymous, but instead, it became a superstar at SO. Why the crazy price tag? It's all about rarity. Coins without mint marks are usually errors, and errors in coin production are like finding a typo in a best-selling book. It's rare, unexpected, and makes collectors go nuts. Only a handful of these 1991 no-mint mark pennies exist, and that's what makes them so valuable. Let me share a little story here. A buddy of mine, let's call him Dave, was cleaning out his junk drawer. You know, that one drawer in your house that has everything from rubber bands to 10-year-old receipts. Anyway, Dave finds a penny, looks at it, and notices something odd. No mint mark. So, he Googles it and boom. He's holding on to a gold mine. Well, copper mine, technically. He sold it at an auction and walked away with enough money to buy a house. Talk about a glow up for a penny? Now, you're probably wondering how to find one of these bad boys. First, grab your penny jar, that cup holder in your car, or even check the couch cushions. Inspect the pennies from 1991 and look closely under the year. If there's no mint mark, you might just have hit the jackpot. And hey, while you're at it, check for any other unique features, misaligned text, double dies, or anything else unusual. Coin collectors love quirky coins. But here's the thing, it's not just about spotting one. You need to authenticate it. That's where coin grading services come in. They'll confirm whether your penny is the real deal and determine its condition, which can affect its value. A pristine no-mint mark penny is like a unicorn in the coin world, rare and highly sought after. So, there you have it, folks. The humble penny that's worth nearly $2 million. If that doesn't make you want to raid your change jar tonight, I don't know what will. But remember, coins like this don't just teach us about money. They tell a story, remind us to pay attention to the small details, and who knows? They might just change our lives. Before you run off to start your treasure hunt, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich. Don't miss out. It might be the most profitable subscription you've ever made. And hey, let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin or what you do with $1.9 million. Have you ever been so broke you started counting pennies? Well, what if I told you one of those humble little Lincoln pennies could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million? Yeah, I'm serious. You could be walking around with $1 million penny in your pocket right now and not even know it today. We're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 2020 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. We'll talk about what makes this coin so special, how to spot one, and why on earth someone would pay $1.8 million for it. So grab your coin jar, your magnifying glass, and maybe a cup of coffee because you're going to want to check your spare change after this. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. The D on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, where this little copper superstar was struck. Now, most 2020 pennies are just that. Ordinary pennies you'd find rattling around in your car's cup holder. But a select few have a rare error or unique feature that sends collectors into a frenzy. And when I say rare, I mean rare. This isn't like finding an extra nugget in your fast food bag. We're talking needle in a haystack levels of rarity here. Here's the kicker. The 2020 Lincoln penny we're talking about isn't just any penny. It has an error. Yes, you heard me. A mistake at the mint. Some of these coins have a double die error, where parts of the design, like Lincoln's profile or the lettering, appear doubled. Think of it like that time you sent a text message and autocorrect made it something completely bizarre. Except, instead of embarrassment, this mistake adds a ton of value. Collectors love these unique quirks because they're one of a kind, and apparently, they love them enough to pay millions. Go figure. Now, here's where you can start dreaming big. To identify if you've got the golden, or rather copper, ticket, you'll need a few tools. Grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and take a close look at the coin's details. Check Lincoln's face. Does it look doubled, like he had a little too much coffee that day? Look at the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date. Are they slightly doubled or distorted? Flip the coin over and examine the 1 cent inscription. Any doubling there could mean you've struck it rich. You might be thinking, who on earth pays $1.8 million for a penny? Collectors, my friend. Coin collectors, also known as numismatists, are like treasure hunters, always looking for that next rare find to add to their collection. Some people collect vintage cars, others collect rare coins. And just like someone might drop a fortune on a classic Ferrari, A serious collector is willing to pay big bucks for a penny with a fascinating story and historical significance. I'll admit, I once thought I struck it rich with a coin. I found an old penny in my couch cushions and was convinced it was worth thousands. I even bought one of those coin books to cross-check its details. Turns out, it wasn't worth more than, well, 1 cent. But hey, at least I cleaned my couch, right? That's the thing with coins. You never know until you look. And even if you don't find a fortune, the process is oddly satisfying. It's like playing the lottery, but without wasting money on tickets. All right, folks, now's the time to grab your change jar and start inspecting those pennies. Who knows? You could be holding a small fortune and not even know it. Remember, the 2020 Mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just another coin. It's a treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I post tips, strategies, and fun stories to help you uncover hidden gems in your spare change. Don't forget to like, share, and comment below if you've ever found a valuable coin or have a funny story to share. Who knows? Your story might be featured in a future video. Did you ever think a tiny piece of copper could make you a millionaire? Well, buckle up, because today we're talking about one of the most unexpected treasures you could find in your pocket change, the 1949 wheat penny. You might want to go check your coin jar, because this little guy could be worth a whopping $1.4 million. No, seriously. It's not a typo. That's not a typo, right? Yep, it's real, and I'll tell you how to spot it, why it's worth that much, and how you can maybe, just maybe, be the lucky one who finds it. Let's rewind a bit and set the stage. Imagine you're just casually sifting through some loose change, right? Maybe you're at a thrift store, or more realistically, you're like me, and you're knee-deep in loose change at the bottom of your couch cushions, praying for a forgotten $5 bill to pop up. But hold up. You find something that catches your eye. A 1949 wheat penny. Now, you might think, cool, it's old. Maybe I can use it for a craft project. But, my friend, that little penny could be worth more than your car. Let me break down why this is so mind-blowing. The thing with the 1949 wheat penny is, it was meant to be pretty standard. You know, just another coin in the lineup from the US Mint. But here's the kicker. There's a rare version of this penny that was never stamped with a mint mark. Why? Well, the US Mint made a mistake. Some of these coins were made at the Philadelphia Mint, which usually doesn't put a mint mark on their coins. But, over time, we realized that a small batch of them were minted without a mint mark, and it turns out, this error makes the coin super valuable today. Now, this penny might look identical to the regular 1949 wheat penny to the untrained eye. But trust me, when it's the real deal, it can sell for upwards of $1.4 million. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Just imagine a tiny penny that could send you to a tropical island with your feet up, sipping a coconut drink. It's a real possibility. So, how do you know if you've got one of these goldmine pennies in your pocket? Well, first things first, you need to know that there's a regular 1949 wheat penny, which has a mint mark if it was made in Denver or San Francisco. But the one we're talking about here has no mint mark at all. It was minted in Philadelphia, and that lack of mint mark is the key clue to get into the nitty-gritty of it. You're going to want to check for a few things. Of course, it has to be from 1949. Any other year won't cut it. Look for the familiar wheat stalks on the back. It's the iconic wheat penny design, which is why they call it that. Most pennies from 1949 will have a D or S if they were made in Denver or San Francisco. If there's nothing there, you might have a jackpot on your hands. But here's the deal. These 1949 no mint mark pennies aren't just hiding in any old coin jar. You gotta be on the lookout. It's a bit of a needle in a haystack situation, but if you can spot one, you're in for a payday. Now, you're probably wondering, why on earth is this penny worth $1.4 million? Well, the value comes from rarity and demand. There's a very limited number of these errors floating around, and the collectors who are hunting them down are willing to pay big bucks for a chance to own a piece of US history. And hey, if you think about it, it's not just about the coin itself. It's a rare moment of history that makes this penny an incredible find. The coin's condition also plays a massive role in how much it's worth. A mint-condition penny with zero wear or tear is worth way more than a beat-up one that's been tossed around in your pockets for years. So, if you think you have one, get it checked by a professional. Don't just trust your casual eye. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through an old box of loose coins, thinking I was just looking for a cool vintage quarter or something to add to my collection. Well, I wasn't expecting much when the lady behind the stall mentioned her coins came from all over the place. I pulled out a 1949 penny, and for fun, I checked for the mint mark. There it was, no mint mark. I'm not saying I found one worth $1.4 million, but let me tell you, my heart skipped a beat. It just goes to show, you never know when you might stumble upon something amazing. So, to wrap things up, keep an eye on those pennies. The 1949 no mint mark wheat penny is a rare find, but if you've got one, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone casually looking through old change, remember, you could be just one coin away from a huge discovery. If you want more tips on how to find coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on our tips and tricks for finding hidden treasures. You could be the next person holding on to a penny worth millions. Who knows? Maybe one day, I'll be watching your video, hearing about how you found the next big coin discovery. Do you have a jar of loose change lying around at home? Maybe a drawer full of pennies from all those years of not wanting to deal with the spare change? Well, get this. One of those pennies could be worth a small fortune. Yes, you heard me right. It's not just any penny. It's a 1970 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. The kicker? It could be worth $1.3 million. I know, it sounds like a story straight out of a treasure hunt movie, but it's real, and I'm here to tell you all about it. So, if you've got a couple of minutes to spare, stick around as we dive into the value of this rare coin and how you can spot one in your own collection. Let's get started. Okay, let's break this down. The 1970 mint mark penny, when found in certain conditions, is worth a lot more than just 1 cent. In fact, it can be worth $1.3 million. Yes, you read that right. That's because some 1970 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong planchet, which is like a piece of metal used to make the coin. Instead of the usual copper-plated zinc planchet, these pennies were struck on a copper planchet, making them way more valuable. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do I know if I've got one of these rare coins? Well, I've got a few tips for you. First off, the 1970 penny doesn't stand out much at first glance, and that's where the fun begins. But don't be fooled. You need to check the weight and color. If the penny feels heavier or has that bright copper shine, you might just have something special on your hands. But before you get too excited, it's important to know that the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The better the condition, the more money you could make. If your penny looks like it's been through a few too many rolls, don't expect it to fetch $1 million. But even in slightly worn condition, it could still be worth a decent amount. If you're looking for one of these copper-plated 1970 pennies, pay close attention to the mint mark. It should be a D located just below the date on the front. But don't stop there. Check the color, weight, and make sure it has that signature luster. The more unique, the better. Now, you might be wondering, how did such a mistake happen? It's 1970, and the US Mint is cranking out pennies at full speed. But somehow, a few copper planchets that were meant for larger coins slipped into the machines for the 1-cent production. And just like that, a handful of these rare pennies were born. You see, sometimes, mistakes like these happen, and when they do, they can make a coin incredibly valuable. I like to think of it as the coin version of Oops, I Did It Again. But instead of a pop star, it was the US Mint, and instead of a hit song, we got $1 million penny. It's kind of funny to think about how a simple mistake like that can turn into a treasure hunt for collectors. And, it's not just rare mint errors that make a coin valuable. Sometimes it's the age, the condition, or even how many were made in a given year. Some of the most valuable coins come from the strangest circumstances. Like, I've even found a few rare coins in pocket change from fast food joints. Trust me, it's like a mini celebration when you pull one out of your pocket and think, wow, this might be worth more than the meal I just bought. Alright, so let's wrap this up. If you've got a 1970 mint mark penny lying around, take a closer look at it. If it's got that copper sheen, you could be holding on to a small fortune. Who knew pennies could be such heavyweights, right? I mean, who would have thought that a coin worth just 1 cent could be the key to something much, much bigger? Just remember to always check your coins before you toss them in the jar, and you might just strike gold, or, in this case, copper. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more tips about coins worth money. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to find treasure in your change jar, I've got plenty more advice coming your way. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Next time you grab a penny, think twice before you toss it into that jar. Who knows, maybe you're just one lucky find away from your own $1,000,000 coin. Ever dug through your change jar or scrolled through your pocket change and thought, could this penny be worth something? Like, maybe a lot. Well, you're in for a treat today because we're diving into a penny that could actually be worth $1.2 million. No, it's not a typo. I'm talking about the 1979 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That tiny little copper piece could be sitting in your wallet, waiting to make you a fortune. So, stick around to find out if you've got one of these rare gems hiding in your collection, or if you need to go searching through your couch cushions ASAP. Alright, let's start at the beginning. You've probably heard of rare coins, maybe even seen one on a TV show or an auction site. But did you know that something as small and simple as a penny could be worth more than a fancy sports car, or even your college tuition? And when I say penny, I mean the 1979 D-Mint Mark penny. Now, don't go rushing off to check your pennies from 1979 just yet. There's more to this story. Most 1979 pennies are just, well, pennies. They're worth 1 cent, just like they're supposed to be. But there's this one rare version that stands out in the crowd, a particular era coin from the Denver Mint that can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to an eye-watering $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1.2 million. It's a rarity that makes even the most seasoned collectors do a double dash take. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, let's break it down. The 1979 D penny has a distinct error where the mint mark, which is normally located on the lower right side of Abraham Lincoln's bust, was double struck. The result? A noticeable and rare double imprint of the D mint mark. This little imperfection makes the coin one of the most valuable pennies out there. The key to this coin's value? It's the error, making it one of those rare treasures that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, that's cool, but how do I know if I've got one of these $1.2 million pennies? Great question. First, let's talk about the basics. Check that mint mark on your 1979 pennies. Is there a D on the lower right side of Lincoln's bust? If there is, you've got a coin that might just be worth more than its face value. But don't stop there. Take a close look at the mint mark. Does it look like it's been stamped twice, giving it that double-struck look? If yes, congratulations. You might have found yourself a rarity. Just because it's a 1979 D-Mint mark doesn't mean you're automatically holding a fortune in your hands. The coin's condition matters a lot. It needs to be in excellent shape to get top dollar. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a washing machine or has a couple of dents from bouncing around in your pocket for years, it might not hit that $1,000,000 mark. But don't worry, even if it's in less than perfect condition, it could still be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. Okay, so let's talk about how this 1979 D penny ended up being worth so much money. How does a tiny minting mistake make a coin so valuable? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. There were only a small number of these double-struck coins made, and because of that, they're highly sought after by collectors. Plus, the mistake wasn't immediately noticed. So many of these coins were circulated and spent, making them even rarer to find today. If you're lucky enough to come across one, you're holding a piece of numismatic history. Now, I have to share a funny personal story here. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, and there it was, sitting in a jar of old coins. I thought to myself, what if this is the jackpot? I grabbed a handful, and among the random pennies, I found one from 1979 with a D mint mark. My heart skipped a beat, and I thought, this is it. I've struck gold. Well, I rushed to a coin shop, only to be told that it wasn't the double-struck version. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. I walked away a little disappointed, but hey, now I know what to look for. So, lesson learned, always check for that double mint mark. So, the next time you're looking through your change jar or sorting through your pennies, keep an eye out for that 1979 D mint mark. If you find one with that double-struck mint mark, you might just have a small fortune in your hands. And if you're really lucky, you could be holding a $1.2 million penny. How wild is that? But remember, not every 1979 D penny is worth a fortune. It's all about finding the rare ones, and the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. So, go ahead and take a closer look at your pennies, and who knows? You might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. If you want more tips on coins worth money and strategies for spotting rare treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be bringing you all the latest info and coin collecting hacks, so you can become a pro at finding coins that could make you rich. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for those rare coins, because you never know, the next one could be worth a fortune. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more coin tips and fun stories from the world of numismatics. Keep those pennies close and your eyes even closer. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pennies? Really? Aren't they just pocket change? You've probably found a few lying around your house, maybe even tossed a few into the nearest fountain for good luck. But today, I'm about to show you that one of these little guys could be worth more than your car, your TV, and possibly even your entire wardrobe combined. I'm talking about the 1971 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, that humble penny you've got in your coin jar could be worth $1.1 million. And no, I'm not kidding. Stick around for this wild ride, because you won't believe the story behind this coin and how it made history, and a whole lot of money. Pennies are generally not worth much, unless you've got the right one. And I mean the right one. The 1971 no-mint mark penny is one of those rare finds that can turn your casual coin collection into a gold mine. You see, in 1971, the US Mint made a bit of an oopsie. They accidentally produced some pennies that didn't have a mint mark. You know, that little D or S on the coin that tells you where it was made. Normally, it's no big deal. But when it's missing, well, that's when collectors start to lose their minds, and for good reason. Now, let's break this down. The US Mint is usually pretty good at keeping track of their coins. In fact, they were so meticulous about it that they stamped almost every penny made in 1971 with either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But for some strange reason, a handful of these coins rolled off the press without any mint marks. This mistake is what makes these coins so valuable today. And if you've got one, congratulations. You're sitting on a gold mine. Okay, not literally gold, but you get what I mean. A 1971 no-mint mark penny in good condition can easily fetch anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000, depending on the grading. But wait, there's more. If you've got one in mint condition, we're talking $1.10 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, I was skeptical too until I heard the story of how one of these pennies sold for $1.1 million at auction. Here's how it went down. A collector had the coin stashed away for decades. No one knew about it, not even him. He just thought it was an ordinary penny. He didn't even notice the missing mint mark. But one day, he decided to take a closer look. And when he did, he almost fell over. He took it to a coin expert and boom! Turns out, it was one of those incredibly rare coins with no mint mark. And the rest, as they say, is history. He made a fortune, and that penny changed his life. Let me tell you a funny little story. Last year, I was cleaning out my old garage. Don't judge, it's a work in progress. I found a dusty box of old coins that I had inherited from my grandfather. Honestly, I didn't even know what was in there. But I thought, hey, I've got a lot of time on my hands. Might as well sort through this stuff. So, I spent hours looking at coins, mostly dimes and nickels, and thinking, yep, that's a dime, that's a nickel, yada yada. Then, I came across a penny from the 1970s. No mint mark. I didn't think much of it, but I remembered something about the 1971 penny, so I decided to look it up. Almost fell out of my chair when I realized what I had in my hands. A potential $1.1 million penny. Well, unfortunately, mine didn't turn out to be the right one. Insert sad trombone sound here. But the point is, you just never know what you might find. I had it tucked away in a dusty old box, and there it was. Now, let's talk about how to spot this little gem. It's not as easy as just picking up any random 1971 penny. There are a couple of things you need to know. First, check for the mint mark, or lack thereof. If there's no mint mark, it's the start of your treasure hunt. Next, make sure the coin is in good condition. A coin that's been sitting at the bottom of a purse or buried under couch cushions for decades probably won't fetch a high price. But if it's shiny, crisp, and clear, you might just have something worth checking out. Also, don't forget to get your coin graded. This is crucial. A coin's grade affects its value, big time. There are professional grading services like PCGS or NGC that can give your coin the official seal of approval. Without this, you're just guessing, and let me tell you, $1 million penny is no place for guesses, so what can you take away from all this? Well, it's simple. Check your pocket change, people. You never know what you might have sitting around your house that could be worth a small fortune. Whether it's a rare penny, an old bill, or even a quirky coin that seems odd, it could turn out to be your ticket to big bucks. And if you're anything like me, you'll be scouring your house right after this video looking for a 1971 no mint mark penny. Who knows? Maybe you'll find something worth more than your daily latte. Alright folks, if you enjoyed this wild ride through the world of coins and treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks about coins worth money. I've got plenty of strategies and stories coming your way to help you spot the next big find. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, or if you've got a wild coin story to share. Don't forget to like this video if you think you'll be checking your pockets every time you walk past a penny from now on. We're diving into a little treasure hunt that might just blow your mind. You know those pennies that you never think twice about? Yeah, we're talking about the 1988 Lincoln penny, but not just any 1988 penny. The one with no mint mark. Stick around, because if you've got one of these, you might have a cool $1 million on your hands. Yep, you heard me right. $1 million. Okay, so before you rush off to dig through your penny jar like a mad treasure hunter, let's break this down. First, let's talk about what makes a 1988 Lincoln penny special. The U.S. Mint stamps a mint mark on most coins to indicate where they were made, usually a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the 1988 penny? It came in two varieties, one with the usual D mint mark and one without any mark at all. No mint mark? That's the golden ticket. But here's the kicker. Only a few were ever made without it, and the scarcity makes this coin a real rarity. A penny? Worth $1 million? That sounds too good to be true. But let me tell you, it's not. The reason this penny could fetch such a high price is because of how few of them were actually made, and how difficult they are to find. Imagine a mistake so rare that it makes you an accidental millionaire. That's what we're looking at here. You might be wondering how a coin with no mint mark can be worth so much. Well, here's the deal. It's believed that some pennies were accidentally struck without the mint mark in 1988, and collectors went absolutely wild for them. These mistakes are known as error coins, and if you've ever watched a show like Antiques Roadshow, you know that errors can make coins like this one skyrocket in value. So, let me tell you a quick story about my own coin collection. Back in the day, I wasn't really looking for anything valuable. I just liked the shiny ones. One day, I was going through my old change drawer, and I found a penny that looked a little different. It was a 1999, but the design seemed a bit off. Turns out it was a slightly misstruck penny. A minor error, but it still went for a decent amount at auction. Nothing close to $1 million, but hey, every collector starts somewhere, right? Now, let's get back to the star of the show, the 1988 no mint mark penny. If you've got one of these in your collection, it could be your golden ticket to some serious coin. Pun intended. But before you start getting all excited and running to the nearest pawn shop, here's the thing. Condition matters. The value of this penny can vary greatly depending on its condition. A penny that's in mint condition, meaning it looks almost brand new, can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. However, if it's in rough shape, it might not even crack $10. So, what you're looking for is something that's nearly flawless. Trust me, the difference in price between a well-preserved penny and a worn-out one is huge. But how do you spot the no mint mark variety? It's actually pretty simple once you know what you're looking for. Take out that penny and flip it over. If you don't see a D or an S on the reverse side near the bottom, then you've got a potential treasure on your hands. But remember, just because it's missing the mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth $1 million. Condition and provenance, aka the history of the coin, matter too. Where do I sell it if I find one of these bad boys? Well, you've got a few options. You can go the route of a professional coin dealer or auction house, Or if you're feeling lucky, you could try listing it online through platforms like eBay. Just make sure you get it authenticated before listing it, so you know you're not selling a rare penny for a dime. So, what did we learn today? That your spare change might just be sitting on a small fortune. If you find a 1988 penny without a mint mark, you might have a real treasure on your hands, potentially worth up to $1 million. Don't toss it in the jar. Don't throw it in the wishing well. Take a closer look and see if you've got the real deal. But don't forget, it's all about condition, baby. And if you're lucky enough to have one of these gems, make sure to get it appraised by an expert. Before you go running off to check your pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of other tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable ones, and how to make the most of your collection. You don't want to miss out on all the treasure hunting tips I've got up my sleeve. So, grab your magnifying glass, check your change jar, and let me know what you find in the comments below. And hey, if you're lucky enough to find a $1 million penny, maybe send a little thanks my way, all right? You might be sitting there thinking, a penny? Really? Is that worth talking about? But hold on, because today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising coin stories that's out there. The 1979 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yep, you heard that right. This little guy could be worth, get this, $2 million. But wait, before you rush to dig through every penny jar at home, let me break down how and why that's the case. And trust me, this is a story you won't want to miss. So, first of all, let's get something out of the way. A 1979 Lincoln penny, while potentially worth a fortune, isn't just your average pocket change. You've probably heard that some pennies are worth millions. But how many times have you seen someone with a bag of pennies hoping they'd strike it rich? Happens all the time. In fact, I've been there myself. Back when I was 10 years old, I found an old coin in my grandma's coin jar and thought, this has to be the one. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But that's not the case with the 1979 penny we're talking about today. The real magic happens because this particular penny was struck in 1979, the year it's believed the U.S. Mint accidentally skipped the mint mark. Now, for those of you not familiar with mint marks, they're those little letters on the penny, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco, that tell you where the coin was made. Most pennies from 1979 have a mint mark, but a few, and I mean very few, don't. The thing is, the lack of a mint mark makes these pennies extremely rare. We're talking about a major oops moment at the U.S. Mint. When this mistake happened, most people didn't think much of it. Fast forward a few decades, and here we are with a penny that's worth more than some people's houses. Now, you might be thinking, why is it worth so much? Well, it's all about rarity and demand. When only a handful of these 1979 no-mint mark pennies were produced, the coin became a hot commodity for collectors. The reason this penny could fetch upwards of $2 million is that there are only a few known to exist in mint condition. And when it comes to rare coins, the cleaner and more perfect, the better. If you happen to find one in your collection, check for that pristine look and hold on to it like your future depends on it, because it just might. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I've got a potential gold mine sitting in my change jar? Well, first, grab that penny and take a close look. If you see the D or S mint mark, you're looking at a regular 1979 penny, and sadly, no millionaire status for you today. But if there's nothing under the date, bingo. You've got a shot at the elusive 1979 no mint mark penny. Now, here's where the real detective work begins. You'll want to inspect the condition of the penny too. The better shape it's in, the higher the value. Don't expect a worn-down penny to fetch millions, though. Coins in mint condition are what really get the big bucks. Alright, so you found one? Or maybe you're seriously considering going through every penny you've ever collected. First off, don't freak out. Take a deep breath. And don't rush to sell it to the first buyer you meet. Make sure you get it properly appraised. There's a lot of value in knowing exactly what you have before making any big decisions. And here's a tip for those of you looking to sell. Make sure you get in touch with a reputable coin dealer or consider sending it to a grading service. You want to get that certified grade to ensure you're getting the most bang for your buck. So, in conclusion, the 1979 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a curiosity. It's a piece of U.S. history and a potential gold mine if you happen to find one in your pocket change. But remember, not all pennies are created equal. So while I don't recommend digging through your piggy bank just yet, It's always fun to know that hidden treasures are out there. And hey, who knows? Maybe the next time you're digging through your coin jar, you'll find the next $2 million penny. Wouldn't that be something? If you're into coins and want to learn more tips, tricks, and secrets on rare coins that could be sitting in your collection right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of info on how you can spot valuable coins, how to preserve them, and how to turn your collection into something worth a lot more than just pocket change. So, go ahead, subscribe, and let's keep the coin hunting adventure going. Who knows what hidden gems we'll uncover next? You know, the one you thought was just a regular penny, but then something about it catches your eye? Well, today, we're talking about one specific penny that's far from ordinary. It's the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yep, you heard me right. This little copper coin is worth a jaw-dropping $2.1 million. No, that's not a typo. You could be holding a small fortune in your hands without even knowing it. So, let's break it down. In 2004, the US Mint produced millions of pennies. But here's where things get interesting. Most of them had a mint mark, a little D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But there's this very rare version of the penny that was struck without a mint mark, and those little mistakes can make a big difference in the value. Now, why is a mint mark such a big deal? Well, it's basically the way the US Mint tells you where the coin was made. So, when a penny is struck without one, it's like finding a glitch in the matrix. It's a mistake that collectors go crazy over because it's so rare, kind of like finding an old action figure in its original packaging at a yard sale. But instead of a few bucks, you could be looking at a couple million. Now, let me tell you about my personal experience. A few years ago, I found a coin that I thought was just a regular, old penny. It had the usual wear and tear, a little smudged and dirty, nothing special. But for some reason, I decided to check the date and the mint mark. Guess what? No mint mark. I nearly had a heart attack. I'm still laughing about how I ran around the house like a crazy person shouting, "I think I've got something." It turned out to be nothing quite like the $2.1 million penny, but it was still pretty cool to think I might have stumbled upon something rare. But back to the main event, the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Here's why it's worth so much. In 2004, the Mint was supposed to produce these pennies only at the Philadelphia Mint. The Denver Mint made a few as a test or an error, and that's why they're so rare. We're talking about less than a handful of these no mint mark pennies circulating, and that's what makes it so valuable. There's also the fact that, over time, coins like this one have become part of a collecting frenzy, and a coin worth a few cents one day can become worth millions the next. You may be wondering, okay, so how do I know if I've got one of these 2004 no mint mark pennies? Well, you'll need to take a close look at your penny. If it's from 2004 and there's no mint mark right below Abraham Lincoln's shoulder, you might have a very valuable coin on your hands. But, of course, just because there's no mint mark doesn't mean it's automatically worth millions. Condition matters a lot too. If it's all scratched up or has seen better days, it might still be worth more than face value, but not the jackpot we're hoping for. Now, if you've got a 2004 Lincoln penny in mint condition with no mint mark, you're looking at potentially $2.1 million in today's market. And no, this isn't a typo or a funny story. I'm dead serious. This coin has sold for that price at auctions, and there are collectors out there who are willing to pay top dollar for it. So, you may want to start digging through your change jar, under your couch cushions, or maybe even at that old jar of pennies you have tucked away in your basement. We all have one, don't lie. Who knows, you might just strike gold. Well, copper, if you're lucky. But hold up, before you start running to your local coin dealer or posting your penny on eBay, remember this. Make sure you get your coin authenticated by a professional. There are a lot of fakes and lookalikes out there, so it's important to know what you have. You don't want to end up with a counterfeit coin that's only worth a few bucks when you thought you were holding onto a gold mine. Get it graded, get it appraised, and if it's legit, congratulations. You've got yourself a pretty amazing piece of US history. To wrap it all up, the 2004 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is a perfect example of how a small mistake can turn into a big payday. If you're a coin collector, this is the kind of find that could change everything. And hey, even if you're not into coin collecting, you've got to admit it's pretty fascinating how these little coins can hold so much value. But here's the thing. Even if you don't have a $2.1 million penny on your hands, there are plenty of other rare and valuable coins out there. So, If you want to learn more about hidden treasures in your change jar and strategies for finding valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips coming your way that'll help you make your collection, or your piggy bank, worth a whole lot more. I'm about to blow your mind with a story about a coin that could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even that vacation to Hawaii you've been dreaming of. That's right. We're talking about the 1985 Lincoln penny with an O mint mark, and its current value might just make your jaw drop. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny. Who cares about a penny? But trust me, this isn't just any old piece of copper. This little guy has a market value of around $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, million with a big ol' M. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just go rummaging through your change jar to see if you've got a hidden treasure in there. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more tips on coins that could be worth a fortune. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this coin knowledge. Alright, let's set the scene. The 1985 Lincoln penny. It's just like every other penny you've seen 1,000 times, right? It's got Honest Abe on the front, it says, "In God We Trust," and it's got the E Pluribus Unum motto. Standard stuff, right? Well, hold your horses because this one has no mint mark, and that's what makes it super rare. Now, for those of you who aren't deep into coin collecting, you might not know what a mint mark is. So, let me break it down for you real quick. A mint mark is a little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made. If it was made in Philadelphia, there's no mint mark. If it was made in Denver, there's a D. And if it was made in San Francisco, you'll see an S. So, a missing mint mark means it came from Philadelphia, but here's the catch. It wasn't supposed to be that way. And this penny is a mistake that collectors went crazy for. Now, you might be thinking, so what? There are lots of mistakes in coins, right? And you'd be right. But this particular error coin is super rare. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Most 1985 pennies have a mint mark, so when one pops up without it, it's like striking gold. In fact, it's worth $2.2 million at auction. Yes, again, million. How does a penny end up being worth more than a brand new car or your entire student loan balance? Well, it's all about scarcity. The fewer there are, the higher the price. And this particular error penny, with its no mint mark feature, is as rare as a unicorn wearing sunglasses. But wait, don't start running to your piggy bank just yet. Finding one of these is like winning the coin lottery. In fact, there are only a handful of these mysterious coins out there, and they're often in mint condition. So unless you've got a 1985 penny that looks like it just rolled off the press, and I mean, really looks like it just rolled off the press, you might want to keep looking. Now, you might be asking yourself, how can I spot a 1985 penny with no mint mark, and what should I look for? Great question. First off, you need a magnifying glass or a loupe. I know. It sounds like something you'd use to study insects, but it's essential for inspecting the coin. Look closely at the obverse, that's the head side, where you'll find Abraham Lincoln's face. Check for any signs of a mint mark or lack thereof. If there's nothing there, you might have a winner. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Sometimes, even if the coin has the mint mark, it might have been a striking error, which makes it even rarer. So, if you've got a 1985 penny that's a bit off-center, a little blurry, or looks like it was struck with half the pressure of a normal coin, that's another sign it could be worth more. Let me share a personal story. A few years back, I was at a flea market and noticed a guy at a stall selling a small jar of random pennies. I'm talking about a whole jar full of dusty, dirty pennies. I was half mindful and half curious, so I picked it up, shook it around, and thought, what's the harm in buying a jar of pennies for a couple of bucks, right? So, I took a chance. When I got home, I started going through the jar, and I found a 1983 penny that looked a little strange. I thought, maybe this one is worth something. It wasn't a $1 million find, but it turned out to be a minor error coin that was still worth a few extra bucks. Long story short, that flea market find turned into a small win, and I can't tell you how much I started digging through jars and jars of pennies after that. So, there you have it. The 1985 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is one of those rare treasures that can make you a serious profit if you happen to find one. And while it's super rare, you never know. Your next penny could be worth way more than its face value. Coin collecting is full of surprises, and that's what makes it so exciting. Now, Before you go diving into your change jar, let me leave you with this. Make sure you're on the lookout for rare coins, pay attention to the details, and don't forget to do a little research. With a bit of luck and some sharp eyes, you might just have the next big find on your hands. And if you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding coins that could make you rich, or at least make you a little extra pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for more coin strategies and hidden gems.